the Lehman crisis and the bill that India has to pay. I spoke with Dr. Subbarao as well, and he kind of agreed that yes, the Reserve Bank's forbearance, regulatory forbearance could have been responsible for exacerbating the NPA load later on. How would you look at the Rajan era itself? Would you have, wanted to have done AQR earlier or done something different so that the load is not so big now?
Well, I think one always tries to justify oneself, but here's the situation with forbearance. Clearly, forbearance is a bet that somehow growth will allow NPAs to get resolved by themselves without action. And unfortunately, when the Reserve Bank initiated forbearance soon after the Lehman crisis, growth actually started deteriorating rather than picking up. There was a period over which forbearance was announced, and certainly in my time we stuck to that period. As soon as that period was over, we ended it. But it was important during that period to create ways that the bankers could actually move forward to resolve the NPAs.
Okay.
There's no point ending forbearance without them having any tools to essentially restructure the loans and put them back on track along with the promoters. And our sense then was that there were very few sort of levers that the bankers had over the promoters. So much of 2014 was spent trying to create those levers. So in fact, when we stopped forbearance, the bankers would actually have some ways to bring the promoters to the table and restructure those loans in an effective way. Remember, we didn't have the bankruptcy code then. We pushed for getting it done, but we simply didn't have that in place to restructure the loans. So an entire out-of-court restructuring, all these fancy names, S4, SDR, this, that, were put in place precisely to create an artificial bankruptcy code. In fact, with SEBI, we made it possible for the bankers to excise the promoter from the transaction if the promoter proved recalcitrant. Now, I think with the bankruptcy code, we have a more effective tool, but much of 2014, before the AQR was initiated, was spent trying to make sure the bankers had the means in which to resolve these bad debts.
Okay.